Hello, this is Linda Vettrus-Nichols, and do I have an amazing person to introduce to you, Kon Apostolopoulos. How did I do?
That's pretty close. You did better than Terry.
Well, good on me. Say your last name.
It's Apostolopoulos, like apostle with
Mhm.
an opulus at the end.
Monopolist. I love that. Well, welcome and let's go. Like, life is not about waiting.
Yeah.
What
And
goes
why
on?
wait? Why wait? We are here for a purpose. We are here for a reason, and we are here to live. And waiting around does not serve us. It doesn't serve us, and it doesn't serve anybody else, Linda. So life is to be explored, it's to be experienced, it's to be loved, it's to feel all of the different ups and downs that we have, but it's not to just sit still.
I love it. Absolutely. And you have a wonderful story of transformation. So tell us a little bit about how you came to be even doing what you're doing now. What was your background like? How about when you were growing up?
Wow. So here's how I would kind of summarize some of this stuff, the key points, the highlights, if you will. I am first generation to this country, but born to first generation immigrants elsewhere. And so I have the consummate story, if you will, of the immigrant and the ability to kind of find and discover a new life. I've had the privilege and the blessing of traveling and living and working on 4 different continents. And
Wow.
my goal before I'm done is to set foot on all 7 of them.
Cool.
Um, so my story begins with a family of immigrants in Australia, where I was born originally, and
Oh,
spent the early part of my life there. But like many immigrants, my parents yearned to go back home. And
and
so they
home was
brought us
Greece.
back. Yeah, home is Greece. With a name like mine, it's kind of hard to hide that. But
Good,
yeah.
good one.
So yeah, so they went back and I was still pretty young. And I finished up my elementary school, my high school, all the way through my schooling years, through my military service there, my college, and my early life experiences. That's why, in many ways, I associate Greece with home, because it is my formative years, the years that kind of helped me become who I am. And
Nice.
then at some point, again, not sitting around and waiting, I decided to explore the boundaries and push beyond, and started traveling the world and working, and met my wife, and we
Oh,
decided to get married, and we did. And at the time, it made a lot more sense to move to the States, because despite what many people think, this is still the land of opportunity. And so
right. And
we
where's she
came
from?
here. Yeah, we came here almost 30 years ago. So next year will be our 30-year anniversary of being married and coming to the States.
Wow.
And
What
so
country is she from?
she's from here, from Colorado. She's raised here. Her life early on was spent here. So we decided that if we can't be close to my folks, might as well be close to hers.
Oh, beautiful.
So that's kind of how we ended up here, with a lot of twists and turns, not never a straight line.
Yeah.
But I found myself kind of gravitating towards the life that I have now, and in some strange ways, probably imagined it at some point. You see,
Yeah.
all my life, I've been thrust into roles that involve teaching or coaching or leading. And so every opportunity that I've had throughout my year, I've tend to gravitate towards that, towards those opportunities and towards those roles. And I've enjoyed it. I've thrived in those roles. And as much as I love to learn, it's probably right, I love to teach and coach. And so now I find myself in my, let's call it, my best years ahead of me. So my
Right.
best years being able to do so many of the things that I love, to be able to impact and influence people, to reach out to them, to share messages that hopefully will make a big difference in their lives, messages from my experiences, from my research, from the work that I've done, and from things that work very practically. And hopefully that gets across to them. And now they can take that message and do something with it. Perhaps it might be the answer that somebody's looking for. Perhaps it might be the prompt that somebody needs to take charge of their life and make a difference and transition for themselves.
I love it. And you go by Coach Khan. So you coach new ones. Tell us a
I
little bit, how did
do.
you get into that, coaching kids?
Well, that's an interesting story. So my daughter wanted to play soccer when she was little, and so hanging around the soccer field and kind of getting to know the coach a little bit, he recognized that I had a passion for the game. I loved it. I played as a kid myself,
Okay.
not at any serious professional level, but for us growing up in Greece, it's part of our. It's a sport that we all play, and so I had a lot of knowledge and a lot of love for the game. I loved working with the kids, and I loved teaching and coaching. So it's a very natural progression to combine all three of these passions
Yeah.
into an opportunity to work with the kids. And I found myself, to be honest with you, kind of in a weird place because on one hand, I'm working with these amazing kids, especially young girls, because to me, we need to keep paying attention to that and growing leaders, strong female leaders, even from a young age. And so working with them has been fascinating. And to me, I brought all of my corporate coaching and training tools and insights, you know, vision setting, goal setting, feedback, performance reviews, all of the tools that I use to manage talent for corporations. I brought down and I've worked with the kids. And amazingly, they've responded so well. When you approach them and you treat them like champions and you treat them in a way that really can get the best out of them, no
Mhm.
matter what level they're at, maybe they're just new to the game, but they've all performed well and they've had fun in it. And to me, that's been such a life-changing experience because it's not about the wins or the losses or the tournaments that I've won or the championships.
Um,
To me, the biggest reward is when I see the kids down at the field and they just rush over to me, give me a big hug, and say, "Hey, coach, I miss you. I still love the game because of you. I really remember our time together fondly." That to me is more rewarding than any win or
Isn't
any
it?
championship.
I love that. My background is special education, and I even worked in a psychiatric day treatment center. And there was a kid there that he was like, "You're the worst teacher in the world." And then we got him to a point where he was able to exit, and he came back for a visit, and he had bought me a little pin, and it was a teacher holding up
Oh,
the world on her hand. And he goes, "You're not the worst teacher in the world. You're the best teacher in the universe."
oh,
I was
how
like,
did
"Yeah,
that
that's why
feel?
I do this."
Oh, there's nothing quite like it. But it's that's where I got the moniker of Coach Con because the kids always used to coach me, call me that. But
Sure.
then I realized that so many of the stories from the kids and the examples I could bring now to my grizzled veteran executives that I used to coach. And fascinatingly enough, so many of the stories and the examples from the kids were exactly what I needed to break down some of the egos and the barriers and the walls that they would put up. Because if a 10-year-old girl or a 12-year-old boy can get it, they have no excuse.
Yeah,
They can
right? I
they
love it. Oh
they
my
can
God.
understand that. And so
That's
it really
brilliant.
put them in a situation because they themselves have either played sports even as a kid or they have kids that have played. So
Yeah.
very relatable to that piece. So it became part of my way of connecting with people at
Yeah.
all levels while doing what I love to do.
It's brilliant. I love it. Thank you so much, Con. This has been wonderful, Coach Con.